Hey guys, welcome on back to the AnKorage, and it's a sad day. My vacuum, it doesn't work. Well, the motor works, but there's something wrong with it down there. So let's talk about that in this edition, all by itself. It's called VatQuest. Welcome on back, and yeah, I just kind of returned a little bit to how I was doing my videos a little while back. So as you can see, here's a piece of my vacuum. So here's the vacuum right here, and yeah, it's got a problem. Now the suction on it is just fine. That works just fine. I could use the wand all I want and stuff like that. However, if I want to do the carpets, I need to have a working brush down on the bottom. And yeah, the brush is working, but it's broken. I've had it for a few years, and of course, with constant use and constant vacuuming and everything like that, you know, these things are just plastic. You know, a lot of the source material, like this, is petroleum because it's plastic, petroleum based and stuff like that. So millions upon millions of years ago, this used to be a fern, or a flower, or a tree, or something like that. It became oil deep in the planet, in the crust. So, and of course they pump it out, blah, 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 plastic. Here you go. So yeah, so a lot of these things, you know, a lot of appliances these days, they're all made out of plastic, and they're often assembled in China, unfortunately. Stuff like that. This happens to be a Bissell Power Force Helix Turbo Rewind. That's a lot. That's a lot of words for a name of vacuum cleaner. Anyhow, but this thing does a fantastic job, and I like it, and it does very well. Except the quarter rewind. Yeah, I'll extend it all the way out or whatever, or even if I have it short and I use the spring-loaded retractor to pull it back in, it pulls it in until this point because the spring just gives out. The springs aren't strong enough to pull it the rest of the way, so I have to get down and manually feed the rest into the thing so that the plug is right there. So, but this does very well. It's got a filter down here, it's got a filter up here, it's got the brush down here. And of course, you know, like a lot of stuff like that, it's like, you know, they've got ones for pets and stuff like that that are really powerful and really do a good job. However, when it comes to human hair, from my experience, no. Because I've had a pet vacuum before for the sake of its extra power. But it was still no match for human hair. So, I won't say whose, but it's not mine. I mean, mine's right here. And it stays there, usually. So, but anyhow, how I figured we would do this is kind of, sort of, a little bit like the restoration videos out there. I kind of touched base on that with the Atari, the VCS I've got down here. If you go back to the Atari Quest video playlist, the one that I do my exploratory surgery on, if I remember, I'm going to try to put it up here, but otherwise we're just going to continue on. And it's a Bissell. I went to Bissell's website, I found it and everything. However, you know, I had to do a search out for it, and couldn't find a Bissell branded one out on Amazon, so I had to find the next best thing, and that's this guy right here. So why don't I take a moment and open this guy up and see what we've got. So I just picked this up a little bit ago. It was delivered to the locker at the local Rite Aid, and I have it there because in this condo complex, deliveries out at the main door have just disappeared. And you know, so whenever I happen to come in the building, and if I see anybody's stuff, I bring it inside the door so that nobody can, come into the building, grab what's right there on the floor, and take off with it, because that happens a lot. So I opted to have everything that I have delivered from Amazon to one of those delivery lockers, those hub doodads, in a local store. And all of these lockers are given names. And for the town that I'm in, the name of this locker is almost kind of fitting. The name of it is called Aryan. I have nothing to do with that. Alright, so here we go. Here's the brush. Alright. So this is it right here. And it's in a sealed bag. Get that open, pull it out. Okay. This looks pretty good. It's nice and loose. And it's got the little thing here for the belt. And there we go. So I'm going to be removing the brush that's down here in the unit. And I'm going to compare it against this one. And it should be the same length. And so far everything on it is looking pretty much identical. The only difference is where the belt goes, there's no raised areas to hold the belt within a spot. But there's so much tension on this thing, it's going to hold just fine. Plus we've got a little bit of a taper. It's a conical like taper, and it will hold just fine. So I'm going to grab my cell phone, this guy, and this is going to move over to the camera on here to see if we can try to get something similar to those ASMR restoration videos. I'm not going to talk during that whole thing, so the next time you see me, it's going to be after everything is all done. So we'll see you in a minute. okay, there you go. It's all done. Here's the old brush. And the thing is that, this brush is just fine all through here. This whole section is fine. Even this end, is it this end? It's loose. It seems fine. This end, however, if I look around it, okay, this one, actually this end is good. This one is not. This one here, the top cap was off center. So when this thing was spinning, it was a reverberation, like something was being spun around and smacking into something. Think of a card in bike spokes, something like that. So, but a lot rougher and a lot more constant at a higher, it was loud. And so when I was looking at the cap, yeah, I saw that initially it was way off. And so I knocked it back into place so that the axle was more on center, and that allowed it to give me that spin, but it was just horrible. So, and when I gave it a closer examination, the cap was all the way over to the very edge. So the axle was bent on that end. So that meant this was garbage. So this is going to be going bye-bye. And got that new one in there now, and here it is. And did that little test with those hole punches. And of course I see the hole punches in the mess in the container. And yeah, there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of hair, there's a lot of garbage in it. But that's just what the vacuums are for, is to pick up garbage off your floor. So here's the bag, the new one came in, throw that in the box. Take this guy, I'll throw this in the box, and then that box will go into the dumpster. I'm glad that the boxes are cardboard, so they're biodegradable. As far as the tape goes, it's a paper tape, so that's good. No plastics, except for, of course, the baggie that the brush came in. And, it feels very much like a plastic and not a bioplastic. So chances are it's not going to biodegrade, and hopefully that all the trash, when it gets picked up by the waste management outfit, that they incinerate this stuff. Hopefully, yeah, and they got scrubbers to take all the nasty stuff out of the air as it's cooking, and out the smokestacks, because we don't want this stuff floating in the atmosphere. So there we go. So when it comes to vacuums, yeah, these things are not built like the Hoovers and the Electroluxes of yesteryear. We're talking 50s, 1950s, even 60s. It was after that they started incorporating more and more plastics, mostly in housings, but the substandard parts. And a lot of people will run into this very problem, and they'll just go, oh, it's broken, time to throw it out and buy a new one. No, I don't believe in that. There was a day where I did that a couple of times, but that was just based on my own personal circumstances. Namely, I wasn't going to need that vacuum anymore. And it was broken, and what can you do with it at that point? However, in this day, it's like I've got a very good vacuum. It works just fine. It was just a constant moving part that needed to be replaced. So you take care of the things that you have. My friend Tom knows all about this because he lives in his van. He has to fix everything because he lives in it and he drives all around the country and stuff like that. So, and right now I think he's going to be in upstate New York for the next week or two. So, and yeah, but in either sense, it's like, take care of your things, and these are appliances. Yeah, this wasn't overly expensive when I bought it 3 years ago, but it's a good piece of appliance, and it's worth taking care of. And yeah, it's all dusty and everything like that, but you know, a little Windex and spray it on there and wipe it off, and there you go. It looks brand new. And you know, the belts on this thing, they're always burning out and falling off, and those are cheap. For like less than $6, I can get a pack of 2, and I can get that at my local Walmart. Granted, it's Walmart, but you know, and I've got my opinions about it and stuff like that. But the thing is that for around this area, where else am I gonna go? Yeah, I could go to the Home Depot, but you know, their cost is, you know, $1 or $2 more, maybe. I don't know. I try to save that place for stuff like, you know, my stove, my refrigerator, that kind of thing. You know, pieces, parts, that kind of stuff. Not vacuum stuff. So the brush is replaced. Yeah, it doesn't have the neat colors of the Bissell colors or anything like that, but you know, that's not important. The important thing is that I've got a working product, and I've repaired it, and it's working great, and it does a really good job. So that's going to be this video, and thank you very much. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe all day long, and all day tomorrow, and all day the next week, and so on. So why don't you come on back in the future, and we will talk to you later. So thank you very much. Skál, and drink to victory. But I can't do that right now because my cup's over there. Excuse me 1 minute. I have to go get it. I've got it right here. There we go. All right, let's do this again. All right, thank you very much for coming along. We'll catch you next week. So, comment, like, and subscribe, and all that happy joy stuff. Skál, drink to victory.